For those who haven't visited Australia's smallest state, Tasmania or Tassie seems shrouded in mystique. Welcome to WatchZilla. Today we are going to explore the Australia's smallest state, Tasmania. Perhaps it's the state's far-flung location some 300 kilometers south of the Australian mainland across stormy Bass Strait. Maybe it's the vast expanses of windswept wilderness. Almost all of Tasmania's land mass lies in national parks and World Heritage areas, with sparkling alpine lakes, wild rivers, and mist-cloaked peaks. Perhaps it's the bizarre wildlife, from real-life Tasmanian devils to the extinct thylacine, the Tasmania tiger. Or is it the haunting convict history and beautifully preserved heritage towns, which seem frozen in time? Today, this mystique lures more and more tourists who are discovering the island's many jewels. Shaped appropriately like a heart, Tasmania is also a foodie's delight. Gloriously creamy cheeses, crisp fruits, and succulent seafood are just some of the mouth-watering local treats on offer, and hanging out at a waterfront cafe or restaurant is one of the top things to do in the port city of Hobart. Number 18. Russell Falls. Located in Mount Field National Park in the Central Highlands of the island, Russell Falls looks spectacular and is well worth checking out if you have the chance. Appearing very much like curtains of water, its tiered cascades tumble down a series of horizontal stone benches, which are surrounded by dense undergrowth with ferns and trees threatening to engulf them. From the viewing platform at the bottom of the falls, you can snap loads of fantastic photos of them rising dramatically before you. The equally charming Horseshoe Falls lie just a short walk away. As the national park boasts lots of wonderful natural sights, many people combine a visit to Russell Falls with stops at some of its other attractions. Number 17. Salamanca Market. Held every Saturday, the award-winning Salamanca Market is loads of fun to visit and is a must when in Hobart. Lying along the waterfront next to the gorgeous sandstone warehouses of Salamanca Place, the market was founded in 1971. Due to its popularity, it has burgeoned in size considerably since then. The market offers some fantastic local produce, handicrafts, and local talented artists. Now, over 300 stands can be found selling everything under the sun, with local cheeses, breads, and wines sold alongside handicrafts, jewelry, and of course, mouth-watering food and snacks. The lively and laid-back atmosphere is infectious, and there is no better way to start the weekend than by perusing its many stands. Number 16. Three Capes Track. Starting and ending in World Heritage-listed Port Arthur, the stunningly scenic Three Capes Track slices through more than 48 kilometers of awe-inspiring wilderness in Tasman National Park. The newest of Tasmania's walks, the Three Capes Track opened in 2015 and has been a real hit the Aussies visiting from overstate and is slowly drawing an international crowd. A boat delivers you to the trailhead from Port Arthur, where you'll walk along the edge of the continent with breathtaking views of the Tasman Sea from the cliff-top trail. Along the way, you'll walk through pristine eucalyptus forests and windswept heathland, see spectacular dolerite columns rising from the sea, encounter wildlife like wombats, wallabies, and echidnas, and stay in comfy eco-friendly cabins. Every hiker receives a guidebook with maps and notes about the journey, as well as stories to read as they sit on strategically placed benches along the track. This 4-day, 3-night hike is suitable for all levels of hikers, even children, and is one of the best things to do in Tasmania in spring, fall, or summer, although hardy hikers could also tackle it in winter if they dress appropriately. Number 15. Franklin Gordon Wild Rivers National Park. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the spectacular Franklin Gordon Wild Rivers National Park has become a symbol of one of Australia's most famous conservation victories. In the 1970s and 80s, this majestic mountain region of primeval rainforest steep gorge and wild rivers was the subject of bitter controversy over a proposal to dam the Franklin River. The opponents of the scheme, with their battle cry "No dams," were victorious, and the wild beauty of the Franklin River and its surrounding wilderness remains. Today, the national park is the nucleus of the Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area, which also includes the rocky 1,443-meter peak of Frenchman's Cap. Its Aboriginal sites are evidence of a rich indigenous heritage stretching back more than 36,000 years. Whitewater rafting enthusiasts come here to tackle the tumultuous Franklin River, one of the top outdoor adventures in Australia, while hikers enjoy the short walks. A highlight is Donaghy's Lookout Walk. You can also explore the park by car on the Lyle Highway. Better still, hop aboard a river cruise from the west coast village of Strahan. Number 14. The Nut. Because where else can you say you have climbed a nut? On Tasmania's northwest coast, the nut is a 143-meter-high volcanic plug which looms over the picturesque heritage town of Stanley. Matthew Flinders, who viewed it in 1798, though it was reminiscent of a Christmas cake with its steep rounded sides and flat top. The walk to the top is only a 15 to 20-minute trek or hop aboard a chairlift for fantastic photo opportunities. And the views on the way up and once at the top are hard to beat. At the top, rails of varying lengths lead visitors through fern-fringed forests and to scenic lookouts with 360-degree views of the curving coastline, the quaint hamlet of Stanley, and surrounding farmland. Look for paid melons and wallabies along the trails and take a jacket as the top can be quite windy. To stay in the idyllic seaside town, check yourself into one of the many Airbnbs on offer. Number 13. Tasman Peninsula. Many of the locations named are in and around the Tasman Peninsula, but have you considered just how equally beauty the area is in itself? The post-Arthur historic site on the Tasman Peninsula is one of the several Tasmanian UNESCO World Heritage listed sites. It is here where Tasmania's history merged with that of the Western world. Founded as a lumber camp in 1830, shortly thereafter Port Arthur became a holding pen for thousands of British convicts, particularly those re-offenders who had already been transported to Australia. You can tour the incredibly well-preserved Port Arthur historic site and easily stay busy for a day wandering through this part of Tasman history. If you're feeling really adventurous, this is also the starting point of the legendary Three Capes track. Further up the Tasman Peninsula is the Coal Mines Historic Site. This World Heritage listed historic site has preserved the living quarters and working conditions of the hundreds of convicts used to mine the region. Number 12. Mount Field National Park. Just a short drive from Hobart, Mount Field National Park is an accessible option for experiencing the magic of the Tasmanian wilderness. Beautiful walking trails wind throughout the park, which is often dusted with snow in the high moorlands until summer. One of the most popular Tasmania tourist attractions in the park is Russell Falls, a gorgeous cascade of water accessible via a short and easy stroll from the visitors center. The short Russell Falls nature walk to these triple-tiered cascades is suitable even for wheelchair users. You can also hike around Lake Dobson, and experienced bushwalkers have a choice of more challenging routes. But here's a tip for a really unique thing to do in Tasmania: come back to the falls in the dark of night and turn off your flashlight. Why? Well, thousands of glowworms light up the nearby trees is a show-stopping spectacle. One of the popular things to do in winter in Tasmania is cross-country skiing, and this is an ideal place to indulge, only a 90-minute drive from Hobart. In the fall, the park ignites with yellow, orange, and red leaf trees. This is also the site where the last Tasmanian tiger was captured in 1930. Number 11. Bay of Fires. What better name for a bay that truly looks as if it is alive with fire, ideally set beside the ocean on Tasmania's east coast. Orange-red rocks, colored by a unique moss, dot the shoreline of the Bay of Fires on Tasmania's east coast and light up in the sunset glow each evening at this bay just north of Bonnarong Bay. The rocks make for a spectacular view, and one that you would assume was the inspiration for the bay's name. Not so. In fact, the name was bestowed by a ship captain after witnessing the fires of the Aboriginal people on the beaches. A great itinerary is to drive from Hobart through the east coast and onwards to Launceston to end your trip. There is a great range of Airbnbs in the area which will give you a more localized experience. Number 10. Hobart. Sure, most people visit Tasmania to bask in its natural beauty. But that doesn't mean you should neglect its capital of Hobart, a stunning and charming city that will bring out the urbanite in you. There are so many incredible things to do in Hobart. Wander that stalls of the world-famous Salamanca Market. Or head to the top of nearby Mount Wellington to admire the vistas of Hobart set against the Derwent River. And be sure that you don't miss out on the Museum of Old and New Art. Beware, because Mona isn't just another boring old museum. Many of its exhibits are interactive, immersive, and downright provocative. Even getting to the museum is an experience. You arrive by ferry from downtown. Oh, and if you're the backpacker type, be sure to stay at Montacute Boutique Bunkhouse, which is consistently rated as one of the best hostels in the entire world. Why not book a city tour with a local? It's a great way to explore Hobart in a unique way. Number 9. Bonnarong Wildlife Sanctuary. Home to everything from kangaroos and wombats to koalas, emus, and of course, Tasmanian devils, the Bonnarong Wildlife Sanctuary is one of the best places on the island to see some of Australia's amazing wildlife. Set on a spacious site, the sanctuary protects and preserves their natural environment. Everything certainly looks idyllic as you see kangaroos happily hopping about the outdoor enclosures. Besides learning all there is to know about these Aussie critters and the center's conservation projects, visitors can also meet a sugar glider or echidna or help out feeding eastern quolls and Tasmanian devils. Located on the outskirts of Brighton, the Bonnarong Wildlife Sanctuary makes for a fun and educational day out for all the family. Number 8. Hollybank. Tasmania's expansive forests aren't just pretty to look at, they also offer plenty of chances for adventure, with perhaps the best example of this for those with kids being the Hollybank Treetops Adventure Park, which is located around 20 minutes outside Launceston. The attraction features series of zip lines allowing participants to zip from tree to tree, providing a wonderful view over the forest and its surrounds as you make your way from one tree platform to the next. While those who are skittish with heights may see some concern with this, both the staff and equipment at Hollybank put such a strong emphasis safety that you can simply embrace the sense of exploration without worry. This is a mix of scenery, fun and views that's hard to replicate, and it's all conducted with a sense of friendliness and humor, which makes it enjoyable for all ages. While the Hollybank Treetops Adventure Park comes with a minimum weight of 35 kilograms for solo riders, tandem zip lines are doable for those with younger kids, and the unique sensation of soaring through the treetops with a family member by your side is highly enjoyable. During the experience you'll be zipping around an average of 20 meters above ground level, with the largest individual section of zip line is roughly 100 meters long and the tallest point reaching almost 50 meters high. The journey includes sections of cableway bridging one station to the next. Each part of the tour has its own special charm, whether it's a unique viewpoint of a certain section of the forest or one of the longer zips runs that allow you to reach maximum speed, it never becomes overly monotonous or boring. The focus here is on a combination of entertainment and ecotourism, with plenty of emphasis put on conservation and preserving the environment, and it helps to drum these messages into younger kids from an early age. The entire Hollybank Treetops Adventure Park takes around 3 hours to complete, and while it's far from the cheapest item on this list, it's certainly one of the most memorable. Australia's longest zipline adventure is an enjoyable Tassie experience and well worth trying, even if you or the little ones are afraid of heights. Number 7. Mona. Cutting edge and controversial, the Mona in Hobart has made a splash on the Aussie art scene since it opened in 2011. Its Tasmanian owner, David Walsh, described the thought-provoking collection of art and antiquities as a subversive adult Disneyland. After entering the museum's foyer at ground level, art lovers descend a spiral staircase to a subterranean gallery where exhibits range from Sidney Nolan's snake to an Egyptian sarcophagus and a machine that turns food into brown sludge. Portable touchscreen devices provide commentary on the works. Also on site are entertainment venues, a trendy restaurant, library, cinema, and accommodation pavilions. The most popular way to travel to Mona is a 30-minute ferry ride along the Derwent River, which drops you off directly at the museum's steps. Number 6. Cataract Gorge. Cataract Gorge has long been one of the most famous symbols of the Launceston area, carving its way through the earth and surrounded by a large and lush area of parkland that has been developed over the years to cater to families. There are few other places, not just in Tasmania but throughout Australia, that so expertly blend stunning scenery with plenty of child-friendly things to do, but Cataract Gorge Reserve manages to do it all. The area is rich in wildlife with various animals roaming around the reserve. You might be able to spot peacocks and wallabies while you enjoy the various facilities suitable for the whole family. These include an open-air swimming pool that is ideal for the hotter months of the year, a well-maintained kids' playground, and plenty of space for both playtime and enjoying a picnic or BBQ. Perhaps the feather in Cataract Gorge's cap, however, is the massive chairlift that takes you on a journey directly over the gorge. Providing you with some wonderful views of the surrounding greenery and hills mountains in the area, this is a great way to relax and take in some beautiful sights. The chairlift is the longest single-span chairlift in the world, and the ride lasts for an impressively long time. However, if you or your kids are a little squeamish when it comes to heights or feel a bit exposed, then you may want to give it a miss, as it is a chairlift, not an enclosed cable car, so a single metal bar is the only safety precaution. The chairlift is far from the only way to explore the area, with a variety of scenic walking tracks winding their way around the reserve, allowing you to take in the natural surrounds at your own pace. There are both short and long tracks to choose from depending on how energetic you and the kids are feeling. Cruises are also available through the heart of the gorge as the Tamar River winds its way through its midst, and many of the vessels are late 19th century style boats which add a touch of old world charm to the proceedings. Perhaps best of all, Cataract Gorge Reserve is a destination that's entirely free, apart from parking and optical extras. All this fresh air and wonderful nature lies within easy reach of the Launceston CBD, so if your kids are the type who appreciates the outdoors, or who you feel are in need of a dose of fresh air, then this is the place you'll want to visit. Number 5. Mount Wellington. Undulating to the west of Hobart, the comforting presence of 1,270-meter high Canany Mount Wellington is a constant reminder of the unspoiled wilderness that lies on the doorstep of this waterfront capital. Follow a winding 21-kilometer mountain road to the pinnacle, often sprinkled with snow, for breathtaking views over Hobart, the Derwent Valley, and the D'Entrecasteaux Channel. At the summit, boardwalks lead to panoramic viewpoints, and a pavilion displays old photographs of Hobart and Mount Wellington. The mountain is a popular spot for biking and hiking through the temperate rainforests, and the distinctive Organ Pipes, a dolerite cliff, is renowned for its excellent rock climbing. Standing atop the summit and admiring the sweeping views is one of the best free things to do in Tasmania, but dress warmly as the weather here is notoriously fickle. Number 4. Port Arthur. A moving reminder of Australia's harrowing history, the former convict settlement of Port Arthur was a key part of often brutal convict discipline within the colonial system. Set in a remote spot on the Tasman Peninsula, the Port Arthur Historic Site is one of the most important heritage sites in the whole of Australia. Established in 1830 by the British Empire, only the most hardened criminals were sent to the penal colony, and a sprawling town soon rose up around the prison. Today, the Port Arthur Historic Site is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and Tasmania's most visited tourist attraction, with museums and memorials devoted to telling the area's history. Its dozens of buildings give us a fascinating insight into what the lives of the prisoners and guards would have looked like. Taking a tour around the complex is simply a must. You can visit Port Arthur for a day visit, however, it is very popular over the summer season. These take you past all of the main landmarks while teaching you about the history of Port Arthur and the many convicts who passed through the prison. If you dare, Port Arthur is rumored to have one of the spookiest night ghost tours on offer inside the remains of what was once a convict prison. In 1996, a gunman killed 35 people and injured many more, with visitors, staff and locals among the victims. After burning down a guest house, he was finally captured and remains imprisoned in Hobart. Memorials to those who died can be found at the site. Number 3. Bruny Island. About 55 minutes from Hobart by car and ferry, Bruny Island is a popular day trip from the city for foodies and nature buffs. The island lies across the D'Entrecasteaux Channel from the seaside town of Kettering. It's famous for its delectable gastronomic treats, such as handmade chocolates, local berries, artisan cheeses, and succulent seafood, which you can sample on island tasting tours. South Bruny National Park, on the island's southern tip, offers beautiful coastal scenery with soaring green sea cliffs, sheltered beaches, and challenging surf breaks. You can explore the park on an eco-cruise or hike the many nature trails. Keep an eye out for wildlife. Fur seals and fairy penguins swim offshore, and wombats, wallabies, and echidnas are some of the more charismatic land animals. Built by convicts between 1836 and 1838, Cape Bruny Lighthouse offers beautiful views of the surging Southern Ocean. Number 2. Cradle Mountain National Park. Cradle Mountain is part of the UNESCO World Heritage Tasmania Wilderness. It's not the highest mountain in Tasmania, but it's definitely the most famous. In fact, apart from that little fiend the Tasmanian devil, the jagged peaks of Cradle Mountain are probably Tassie's most recognizable symbol. Climbing Cradle Mountain is something of a rite of passage for backpackers traveling Tasmania. And though the trek is manageable for most fit people, don't underestimate the final rocky ascent, where you'll have to scramble over boulders to make it to the top. But regardless of whether you plan to summit it or not, a visit to the stunning scenery around Cradle Mountain is not to be missed as one of the best places to see in Tasmania. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 1. Freycinet National Park. World Heritage listed Freycinet National Park on Tasmania's relatively sunny east coast in one of Australia's oldest nature reserves and one of its most beautiful. The star of this picturesque peninsula is the perfect curve of powder white sand and azure sea at Wyneglass Bay, one of the top beaches in Australia. A lookout provides the best views. Take the 20-minute walk from the lookout to the southern end of Windyglass Bay to admire beautiful views of the Hazards, 3 striking pink granite crags rising out of the sea. The peaks are best photographed at sunrise and sunset when their color deepens in the golden light. Throughout the park, hiking trails wind through pristine bushland to secluded bays and lookouts, and birding is fantastic. Black cockatoos, kookaburras, and seabirds are just some of the resident species. At the entrance to Freycinet National Park, the little beach resort of Coles Bay is a good base for walks and climbs in the surrounding hills, and you can also explore the entire region and the East Coast Escape Scenic Drive. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchZilla and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.